And is it true that so right before you were directing Merrily, had it come back again? And you
I had a really bad second go at
Yeah.
it. Yeah, that came back worse. And that was really, really traumatic. And that's why I didn't come back for a long while. I decided, you know, I didn't know, I've got 2 children, and I didn't know how long I had. Yeah. So I made an absolute decision that I was going to give up performing. It broke my heart because it's everything I was and am, may I say. I'm not everything, but I mean a huge part of who I am is that. But I knew that I needed to be a mum, put my kids to bed, do that stuff, which I wanted to do. It was I would never, ever take that back. But what happens if you are, I was 45, so parts were already diminishing, but if you get off that train, it goes, and it just went. And so it wasn't even that I did a lot of TV and concerts, like my beautiful Marvin and Steve kept me going. They kept me going. They wouldn't let me be defined by it. So I kept singing, but it wasn't the constant thing I'd done from 22 to then. It just stopped. It stopped like, wow. And everyone said, you won't give up, you won't give up. And I got off the plane and I phoned my agent and said, I'm stopping. He said, no, you're not. And I said, yeah, I am. And it was 15 years before I did another musical. Yeah, and I only did it for 3 months, and that was about 4 years ago.
And what was that one?
That was Fiddler on the Roof. I took over from that beautiful Judy Kuhn for just 3 months, and my God, I was not fit, I'm telling you. I missed 3 entrances because I was talking in the wings. They couldn't believe it. They were like, who is this woman? I was just like, I would never have missed an entrance before, but I was just not on, you know. When I was on, I was really good. But when I was off, I was like something had happened.
Well, I have these questions from the audience that I'm going to ask now, but I want to say quickly before we finish talking, I saw your concert, Legacy, that was at the Hudson Theater on a night off about 3 months ago, and Maria Friedman has still got it, ladies and gentlemen. And I hope that you start playing roles again and come back to doing theater, and your next Tony nomination is for As an Actress, as it deserves to be. Okay. So here's some audience questions. Are you ready?
Yeah.
This is from Tracy D. Where are you at, Tracy? Where?
I'm like in the
Oh my God, you're right there. Okay, amazing. Tracy says, in the show, Frank says he wants to hold on to a moment, a picture that I can treasure. What are the top moments both of you want to treasure from the beginning of the whole journey until now? You first.
No, you.
Me?
When I met you in Steve's house. Steve had gone, but I wanted Jonathan to be to feel Stephen. So I took him to his house and we sat and we talked for ever. And I thought, that's it then. That's who's playing my Frank. That moment changed everything. You.
I'll never forget it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like,
Yeah.
that was like I was in Pennsylvania and I drove up to meet you.
Yeah.
We'd met over Zoom, but we had not yet met in person, and it was months later and very special.
Yeah.
Okay, the next question is, how has your relationship to Merrily, as well as your takeaways of the messages, themes, and life lessons of the show, changed as your journey with it has progressed? I.e., from playing Mary to directing in London to directing this current production in New York City. This
Great.
is from Jess.
Well, if we had another 2 days, I'd tell you.
Yeah,
But I'll very briefly, what my takeaway thing is that people stop us all and say that it's reminded them of how important friendship is. And if that's something that people can take home with them, I say we can't keep our friends forever, all of them. Some come, some go, but those moments are no less valuable. They were wonderful. If you've had friends and then you've had to move on for whatever, it doesn't diminish that. But also be mindful, pick up a phone if you feel like phoning somebody. And my big thing is never assume. Don't assume that somebody doesn't want to hear from you, or that, you know, they've just, if you love them, let them know. That's what I would say. And how I've changed through it. When I first played Mary in my 20s, I was lucky enough to learn from Stephen and George, who came into the rehearsal room with rewrites and everything every day. I realised, A, the detail, the joy, the passion, the fun, the love. As I said on that speech, is that Steve used to cry, literally tears, saying, why doesn't everybody know that all I do is write love songs? That's what he wrote. Everything is about love, wanting love, hoping for love, missing love. It's all roads lead back to that. So I was taught by the master himself that that's what you do. You pour love into the corners. They give us the scaffolding. They give us the structure. We bring ourselves, right? So that continues in everything I do. That's all I'm really interested in, actually. That's all I'm interested in, is detailed storytelling and examining why love is so hard and so essential.
That was a huge moment of revelation in rehearsal when you said to Dan and I in
Franklin Shepherd Inc.
Yeah, Franklin Shepherd Inc. is
It's the greatest love song. It's the greatest love song ever written. It's a man saying, look at me, I love you. I love you.
That's the guy I love.
Yeah, and I make him bash you. Wake up.
We were just talking about that today.
Really?
The hitting, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, I'm really beating the fuck out of you. Yes, you are.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, in most plays, actors use the previous scenes to inform their choices as the play progresses. Yeah. But you can't do that in Merrily because it isn't chronological. Is it difficult to have to start fresh with each scene? That's a great question for you.
Such a good question.
Yeah.
So in rehearsals, I got ice pops. You know those things? Because you need to jump in cold, really cold. And what they were doing was hanging over and also filling in the gaps that they shouldn't know, So there were no revelations, that because they knew it, you have to forget everything from the scene before and jump in cold. So we did that, didn't we? I mean, not everybody, you did the ice pops, I think.
I took the ice pops,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I love a popsicle.
It's like freezing cold, fresh. Like, you know how I talked about those sharp turns? Once you start enjoying that as an actor, it's so thrilling, isn't it? It's thrilling.
It is. And I feel like what you're saying about don't assume as a lesson, this thing of like, and the thing that you say all the time too is it's never too late for a restart.
Never.
And that's your hopeful ending for the pose at the end that you put Frank in every production.
Yeah.
He can restart. Who knows if he'll be friends with those people, but he can go back to music. He can restart.
You do.
Yes, it's a restart. And it's funny because in playing the show, we're building the muscle of restarting.
Yes.
By dropping what came before as a sort of personal exercise. It's so great because it's building that internal muscle.
And you know the genius of these guys, there's no silly makeup or silly, like, suddenly aging. There was a brilliant moment where Dan, he's always pirouetting and jumping all about places and hugging. And Dan's doing one thing, and they were charging about, he was pirouetting, and I don't know, Dan was doing something really strange. And then Lindsay was doing something really strange. And then we started setting Old Friends, and they looked at me without any irony at all, said, I think this is a bit silly for us. I don't think we'd do that. I was like, I'm just stopping right now. Just tell me what you were doing 1 minute ago.
Yes.
That we think because we're 40-something that suddenly everything changes. I am still 5, I'm still 25, I'm still 45, and it stopped there. But, you know, the big shock is when I look in a mirror. It's just a terrible disappointment. but I am all those things, and I walk with them all. And therefore, I always think what they do is so genius because it's just done with a shift of energy. It's a shift of energy. It's not suddenly, you know, there was one point where I think Lindsay said something like, would I be able to sit down like that? I said, watch me, sit.
Yes.
You know, I'm like 64. Yes is the answer.
Yes,
yes.
And that's the nuance that Maria like directed with, which is, also because you had 12 years of experience with the show. So we in many ways were playing catch up with your knowledge, and you were inviting us like, playing the ending is such an obvious thing, but you know, playing overly serious in the end, or play all these nuances of being youthful at certain moments. It's like beat to beach. This is like the specificity of direction. And I want to say with the transitions and going backwards, Maria also directed the fuck out of the transitions. Because of this palate cleanse of she literally had us eating popsicles between each scene to cold refresh, but you have directed the fuck out of the incredible ensemble members that are singing in the transitions, the energy and the intention with the way that they
bring the whole of themselves.
Yes.
With generosity.
Yes.
That's the point, is that you've all paid your money to come and sit in there. We need to welcome you. We need to say thank you and hello, and you're one of us and we are one of you, and together we are all going to experience this together. And that takes so much skill from those guys, because they haven't got the dialogue or the material, so they had to, and they started off very reverential. It was very, very serious, because, you know, people want to make an impact. And I said, your impact will be your humanity. I want all your specificity, you. I want every inch of you to come out into that. And not a bit like her or a bit like you, but you, because that's all we have. That's all we've got is our uniqueness. That's it. We can't be I'll be a second-rate anybody else. I can be a 20th-rate me, but I can also be a first-rate me. I can be all those things.
Okay, and this is the last question, which is perfect because we have 2 minutes left. I love this question, Paul. Maria, what other project would you like to do with Groff?
I'd do anything. I would literally, if he wants me to do anything with him, the answer would be yes.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah. To close it down, I'll just say that you. Having a director ask us, as all of the actors, like you just said, having somebody ask to bring all of yourself to something is so rare and so special.
But look what you did. You did that.
But you
did it. You did it. I saw it. You own it. You do it. I watch in awe. I watch in awe and gratitude every time I see you on stage. There are people who go on stage for themselves, and there are people who go on for fame, and then there are people who go on stage because they would die. It saves them. It gave them a life. Jonathan sings for his life. He walks on stage for his life and for your life. That's why he's Jonathan Groff. That's why you're different.
I love you. I love you. Thank you all so much. And I think that to share gratitude with everybody that came tonight, I know that you and I both believe this that is acting, directing, performing, it is all an act of service for the audience.
It's all it is. It's an offering.
Yeah, it's an offering.
I say it to everybody before the show. I say, you go out there, you say thank you. You don't go out there saying, look at me. You say thank you, and you offer people. Offer. It's an offering. Steve wrote, so you watched. George wrote. They wrote on their own. They painstakingly crafted these things so that it's for you. There's only one reason for me being here. It's for you. That's the only reason. And when I sit in an audience, and as I said, musicals are popular, and I go to the back of the stalls of the Hudson Theatre, and I hear the audience breathe as one and sigh as one, I'm like, Steve, George, well done.
Thank you all so much for coming. Thank you to the Y. Thank you to the Y. Thank you.